Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hello baby. My name is Linda Mapumula and welcome. But if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back to another video, babes. Sanbanani ma e. As you've seen from the title, you already know what it is. Why did I just say that? But then I'm doing a video of just like, you know, we unpack in this channel. The regulars know what we unpack, where we're at, what we've learned, and just what I've gained throughout this phase in my life. So, as you've seen, I'm a steady girl now. I'm just joking, not now, for a while now. But then, you know, just how I've been feeling about like singlehood and the things that I've learned and just what I've gained about myself and just like figuring that phase out actually. You know, we'll just unpack and, you know, let's get to unpacking. But then before I start, I really want to show you guys from where I'm coming from and like where I'm at now and things that I've learned with that, like the relationship side of my life and just who I've become in that space. So I am a few months single now. Proud of myself. For someone like me, that's a very long time, and I will explain why as this video goes by. I was really contemplating doing this video because I really didn't want to do it from a place of just like hatred or just a place of just like anger or just a malicious place for any past relationship that I've been in. I really wanted it to be an expressive video where I just get my subscribers into like what I've learned with that side of my life. So I really contemplated doing it for a long time, but I thought, you know what, girl, you can do this. But then for the longest time, I think I've just been I don't know how to explain it, but I've been the definition of just a cool girl. And I know like people have been doing like videos about cool girls this, cool girls that, cool girls this, and I didn't want to title this video Cool Girl because I know that I don't want it to revolve around, like there's more to me than just men or just relationships. And I really wanted it to be more of like a me thing where I focus on me and not my past relationships and how that has went and just, you know, doing malicious story times. Like I thought about how I'm gonna go about it, but then I was like, you know what, this is the best way for me. But then I've really been in relationships that have compromised my mental health. I think a biggest contribution to that is just the fact that I'm very quick to just jump into relationships without really giving myself the time to get to know someone. And when I'm in it, my past two relationships like have been the worst. Like they've been the best but the worst. Like that's the funny thing about toxic relationships. It's like you can never forget it, but at the same time it's like you can never forget it in like a negative manner. But then those relationships were just like, funny how the only way that I saw that they were so similar was after I got out of this last relationship. Like, you know how you'll have like past screenshots saved of just like, you know, of other relationships that my relationship before this one, I had screenshots saved of just like conversations and arguments that I got into with that specific person so that I could remind myself never to be that person again. And the same thing that I did with this relationship. And I literally found the old screenshots and I was comparing them and I was like, shit, I was literally the same thing within these relationships and I tolerated the same thing. I did the same thing. It was just toxic. And the funny part is that I was just like so far up in my cool girlness. It was pathetic. It was insane. And I think the hardest part for me is that like a big part of me loves love. And I used to use that as an excuse just to tolerate just the worst things ever. And just like it was just a toxic, like the person that I was within those relationships, I never want to be again. Until this day, I keep those screenshots just to remind myself that, girl, you are not going to be that person ever again. Because that was sickening. That was sickening. But the relationships that I got in, just to give you guys some leverage, like I got into relationships with people without getting to know them, their past and stuff like that. And one thing about me that I tell myself now, and it's not even funny, I literally am just like, you know what? The next time I have to go to a relationship, I want a slip from your therapist telling me that you could get into a relationship with me, because there's no way in hell I'm allowing you to traumatize me like that ever again. But then I got into relationships, fell hard, fell to the ground, fell in love so deeply with the person. And the people were good people, I'm not gonna lie to you. But they were in situations with just like, just like their personality traits were really on and off. And it really got to a point whereby when things were good, they were good. But when we got into fights and arguments, like I would find myself, like it was almost like my soul was getting sucked little by little, and it was draining every sense of energy and like anything that has to do with love or just, it was just draining me and sucking all the energy that I had within me. And I really got to a point whereby, like I used to make excuses for these people and just be like, you know what, I'm not trying hard enough. Everyone fights in relationships. But then I think the biggest thing that helped me leave it is like, I would have stayed if I really stuck with the excuse. Everyone fights in relationships, everyone, and stuff like that. But the rate at how it was going and the amount of fights that were there could never be normalized. And what really confirmed to me that this was not okay was how I felt, like how my body, how my mental health took just the toxicity within that relationship. I don't think anything that is meant for you or is for you is meant to drain you and just compromise your mental health in any way. And that's what kept on confirming to me, because I can't keep staying in situations that compromise my mental health this much. And I tried so hard to just fight for love. And I feel like these two relationships have reminded me, like, love is just not enough sometimes. And you know what? I'm a big person on love. I'm not really big on like materialistic things. I love love. But these two relationships finished me completely. And don't say these two relationships, I mean my last two relationships. So that's been like within these like 3 years. When I say these two relationships, because they were so similar. Let me just say my last relationship. Let's just use that. But then, like, they drained me so much. Like, they compromised my mental health. Like, it always felt like I had like a weight on my shoulder that felt so heavy. But at the same time, the option for leaving wasn't an option because I felt so incomplete without the relationship. Like, I felt like there's something I had to do there was something that could have been done to fix the situation. And every time I tried, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. But the biggest thing for me with this video is I don't want to analyze how the other person did this, how the other person did this. I really want to look within and myself, what I took from it, what I learned, and what I really needed to analyze when I got out of those relationships. So I think my biggest thing for me was like, I got to realization, Uguti, girl, first of all, what are you gaining from these relationships? Like, what are you guys feeding off each other? Are you guys growing? Are you guys, what changed about me after those 3 or whatever banmanyani that I was in, or that period of time that I was in that relationship? What did I gain? And literally when I analyzed it, I literally saw nothing that I gained besides just me wallowing and being like, oh, I love this person so much, I love this person. But it's just like, what growth, what's positive that came out of just that time and period of time that I was in that relationship? Did I find something? No. But did I find a lot of negatives that I gained? Yes. I was like, my last relationship finished me completely. Honestly, I'm fine being single right now. I can't take niggas seriously. That's point blank. I can't take you guys seriously. Well, man, I'm emotionally detached a bit. I'm just not there right now. But my biggest thing for me was looking within and asking myself, what within you thought that this was love? What within you thought that this is okay? Like yini inside of me that is so okay with compromising so much of myself and putting my mental state in such a negative place. What's that? What do I have in me that's okay with that? Like it's geese. But like what within me is so comfortable with so much toxicity? That's the hardest part that I needed to look into and just analyze. What is it? What is it within me that's so comfortable with toxicity, that's so comfortable with the barest minimum? What's within me that looks at that and thinks, that's what love is supposed to look like, and I'm okay with sitting in it? That's the hardest part that I needed to look at. But I saw this video on Instagram that was trending, and it literally slapped so hard, because that's the biggest part for me, was me forgiving myself. I always say this: the first time someone hurts you is their fault, but the many times after that is yours, because you stayed and allowed it. And I had went back to that situation so many times for so many reasons that I look back at now and think to myself that they were not worth it. They were not worth compromising myself and putting myself in such a state, and just allowing for myself to be talked to like that, allowing myself to be treated like that, allowing myself to be so belittled, and just like think that's okay. It's okay for me to accept that. Inside of me that thinks that that's okay. That's the person that I am. That I could allow someone to talk to me like that when they're angry or when they're not okay, or just in arguments, and just, disrespect me in that manner, and for me to just sit there, wallow and listen, take it in, and carry on saying, this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, and this is the person that I love. I had to forgive myself for putting my body, my spirituality, my mentality, my mental health through that. I had to forgive myself for doing that to myself. But most of all, I had to fix the problem that was within. It was just like, just to even think about it, there was such a big bubble of just lack of self-love for myself, for me to just sit there and take such things in. Now that I think about it, it's just like, girl, what were you rooted in? What is it? What is it? But I think that's the place that I'm at in my singlehood. I'm trying to figure myself out, love myself more, to the point whereby I know the amount of love that I deserve, and I know the amount of love that I should be receiving and should be tolerating. So I need to fix what's within. Slondi, listen, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're loving, you have the biggest heart, you give off so much. Why would you not want that back in return? And I think the biggest thing with us females is that we're so scared of just leaving someone that loves you so much. And I think the hardest part about a toxic relationship that's not physically abusive is that it's so subtle, you don't see it. But most of all, it's always from a person that loves you so much. And it's just there's so much love flowing in this relationship, but at the same time, you know that this relationship is not good for you. And the hardest part is leaving, thinking that, am I leaving 80% and I'm going to get a 70 or 60 after that? And it's just really, is that your reason for staying? And just compromising so much and accepting the barest minimum, that's your best reason for staying. And you're always so scared of letting go because you're thinking to yourself, my biggest reason was that this person loves me so much. And I couldn't figure out why it didn't work, why it wasn't going so well, why was I crying so much every week? Why did me being in this relationship feel so heavy? And every time I left, I felt lighter. And that's another thing that was such a confirmation for me, is that every time I left that relationship, it felt lighter. And the thing that pushed me to go back was, and I don't know what the basis for me loving this person so much was. I think the basis was just the connection that we had and the fact that when things were good, they were so good and we were such best friends and this and this and this. But then I can't overlook the negative that it contributed to my life. I couldn't overlook it because it was sucking every single good energy within me. Like, I was so unhappy. Now that I think about it, I was so unhappy. But then I think just me being single reminded me of who I am. It reminded me that, girl, no, you need to get up. You need to stand up, girl, stand up. What the hell is this? What are you doing? You're so beautiful. You have such a good heart. And I even convinced myself that I didn't do enough for this relationship. And when I look back, now that I'm sane, now that you're out of just that funk, I was like, girl, I don't know anyone that would have done the amount of things that you did for that relationship. Sorry about that. Like, I don't know anyone. Girl, you're strong. Like, I had to find affirmations that really put me back in a place that shows so much love to myself, my body, my mental health. It was just like, girl, what are you doing? But I think I'm so glad for the space and time. I really feel like I needed this break just to find myself and find love for myself. That's my biggest thing, is find back the love that I had for myself and just the confidence and the, girl, you can't, like, you know, I feel like this video is like me speaking to myself and just reminding myself, Uti, you can't do this, you're better than this. But really, I'm just enjoying this phase of just finding myself. Like, I let go of so many things, like, I was so fixed on this one person and just, you know, my whole life revolved around this one person that I let go of so many things that I could have done in that space and time because that relationship was so heavy for me. I couldn't focus on other things. Like, already there's so much going on in my life. Okay, forgive the change of angle. I don't know where I stopped, but then my battery went off. It was low. And I didn't think this video would be that long. But then I think the biggest part for this video is just to remind anyone that's just, you know, lost, that just lacks self-love, that God will never send anything your way that will make you struggle. God will never send anything your way that's meant for you that will compromise your mental health. Nothing that's meant for you will make you cry all the time. Nothing that's meant for you will compromise your emotions in any kind of way. Nothing that's meant for you will not be reassuring that you're beautiful, you're smart, you're an amazing human being, and the next day treat you like the opposite. Nothing that's meant for you will bring any type of inconsistency and that manner to your life that compromises what you think of yourself, or that just makes you feel belittled, or just talks to you in any manner that's just, you know, disrespectful. I don't think that's love, and I never want that to be my definition of love, or for me to think that's okay just because the next day you treat me like this golden thing, but then an hour before you were talking to me like I'm nothing. And I think the hardest part for me was that, like, I knew this person loved me. And that's what made me, you know, I thought it was like, you know, it's okay. Because it's just like everyone fights and it's this and it's this and it's this and it's this. And I live by the fact that nothing that is meant for you will ever compromise you in that manner ever. Love yourself, girl. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're an amazing human being. And anyone brought your way will be reassuring, will never bring instability within any aspect of your life. And yes, nothing is perfect. Nobody's perfect. It takes two to tango. I know that. But, ma'am, that was it for me, hey? That was it for me. But then within this period of time, I've learned to love myself so much. And I know with me loving myself and me reminding myself who I am and just reassuring myself of the good things that I am in my life, I will never accept anything less than that. Meet me at my level. I will never accept anything that looks at me beneath what God sees me and what I see as myself. So that's the biggest thing for me that I'm trying to do, is just grow so much love for myself to the point whereby I just don't compromise on anything that I just, that's good for me. Anything that's good for me, I don't compromise on that. I've learned so much from the relationship that I got out of. I'm grateful, and I have nothing against the person that I was with. He is an amazing person in his own manner, trust me. But I don't think anything that's meant for me would compromise my emotional state the way that relationship did. And the way I had shrunk myself into this just apologizing human being that just takes and that's just talked to anyhow. Like it made me sick. Like just thinking of the person that I was in that relationship makes me cry all the time. And there's no freaking way I'm gonna allow that ever again. It's all self-love. All love, and just knowing that you're bigger than this. You're more than this. You're meant for more than that. And just spreading love. But thank you guys for watching. Subscribe. But tell your friends to subscribe. Tell your friends, that friend, that other friend, the friend that you didn't know, the friend that you don't like, the friend that you like, your friend, to subscribe to my channel and join the fam. Thank you guys for watching. Love you loads, Sanna.